Hey everybody, welcome back to another Lego City update. We're not going to be working up top today. We're actually going to be swooping underneath the table where we have the deep sea area. It's right here below this sparkling water. Oh, I love looking at that. Looks so cool. I started working on this not too long ago and I just made the wood construction for it. So we framed it using the melamine and then I built a melamine base for it as well. It's quite large. 4.5 base plates wide by 5 base plates deep. So yeah, it's a pretty big surface area. And I'm happy that I decided to add the background because eventually I'm going to be hot glue gunning blue base plates to the wood panel sides. So it's like blue water. But before I do that, I've got to figure out what the base construction is going to look like. I started creating the Mills plates for this area. You can see there's just regular old tan Mills plates, but I ran out. I was only able to get the front done and then I started blending in the wood as well around here. And I was thinking that maybe I could build up with tan brick and panels on these legs here and start to cover that up as well. But the first thing I need to do is Mills plate it all. That's a lot of base plates to Mills plate. But during the promotional days, not too long ago, that being the Insiders weekend and Black Friday when there was a bunch of GWPs and double points on, I ordered all of these 16 by 16 plates, which should be enough. I think I need about 90 of them to Mills plate that entire area. And as you can see, I decided to go with dark tan because I think that better represents wet sand. Also, I've got a bunch of these rock panels in dark tan, and I think I'm going to mix them in with the dark gray rock panels to create some elevation. I don't want to go too high because then you won't see it as well, but I'm thinking if we can go up 6 bricks, which is one of these in some areas, it might be pretty neat. And then I've got a bunch of Mills plate material here, such as 2x2 and 1x2 bricks. All right, let's get started. So we're gonna have to make some really big Mills plates here. The first thing I have to do though is just modify those 32 by 32 plates that I constructed. You can see all the weird underlying brick in those ones there. Yeah, that's because there's all sorts of different sizes of plate that were used to construct them when we originally did them in tan. And I'm actually going to merge them into larger plates, and I've got to change the stud that actually overhangs off the front of it that was topped with 1x tan plate to the dark tan plate as well. And the reason that stud actually overhangs off the base plate is because that provides that lip where we can build down right to the floor, just concealing the wood structure that holds the entire underwater area. So yeah, I just got to modify a couple of those and you'll see that that tan brick actually goes around the corner there as well because we're going to build down to the floor. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any dark tan bricks, which is not good. So I might have to order a bunch of dark tan bricks. I feel like that color is a little bit harder to find. Like it's not very common in bulk lots, for example. So I'll have to order some for this project because of course when we build up, we want to make sure we match the dark tan feel. Although I think when we build up, we're actually going to use a nice combination of dark tan and the dark bluish gray. That's why when it came to those rock panels there, I pulled both colors. So now we're going to have to start building some massive plates. It's sort of a weird size. Once again, it's 4.5 base plates by 5 base plates deep. So I'm going to build this one here, which is 4 base plates. It's 2x2. I just go around and build the perimeter with 1x2 bricks, and then I do the interior with 2x2 bricks. And you'll notice that I'm adding the 1x2x5 taller panels around the perimeter there, and I'm starting to increase the height of the interior brickwork as well. That's because I want to have some elevation in the deep sea area, and it's actually got to go up to 7 bricks tall, which is crazy because it just consumes so many pieces. Of course, I could do this with like a wood structure or something, but I'm leaning toward doing this with all bricks. So I'm building up the height to 7 bricks tall. And actually right now I'm only doing it 6 bricks tall because I didn't think it through. Well, of course I thought it through, but I didn't know if I was going to integrate those rock panels, which are 6 bricks tall, right onto the base plate, or if they're going to sit on Mills plates in front of the Mills plates that have been increased in height. So originally I just went through and I made them 6 bricks tall, but then in the very end I make the decision to increase them to 7 bricks tall. So for example, wherever I have this Mills plate sitting, the Mills plate in front of it, if it's at standard Mills plate height, then I can put a rock panel on top of that and it's going to match up with the height. But that consumed a lot of pieces, and that's only 4 base plates. And the entire deep sea area is actually 22.5 base plates. That's why I need, I think it was 90 of those 16 by 16 plates. But either way, starting on the next 4 base plate module here, doing the exact same thing with the 1x2 bricks and also the 2x2 bricks. And this one's gonna be a little bit different. I'm not gonna increase the height of the entire thing. So I'm actually gonna do a little section there, which is the 2 front base plates, and then another 16 by 16 stud panel there that's going to be at the regular Mills plate height, and then the rest is going to be elevated. And I will say it is hard to visualize what I'm going to do exactly with like the elevated area when I'm working on it plate by plate. It's hard to visualize like what's going to go down. So later on, when I actually get all of these plates laid on the floor, I can better see what this deep sea area looks like, what areas need to be raised up, and it is easy to go through and modify the heights of specific plates because we're dealing with the larger 16 by 16 plates. Once again, just building those towers of 7 in the center there and around the perimeter with those bricks, and then gonna top them with the 16 by 16 plates. And as you can see, this one here has like 2 base plates at the lower, like 1 brick high, and then there was 1 16 by 16 at the 1 brick high as well, and then the rest was all raised up. Now this is a mammoth of a plate here. It's 2.5 base plates by 2 base plates, so it's just a monster. I am using green base plates because I wanted to save my tan. I think the tan base plates, I'm going to be able to better utilize those in the subway, because of course we want to still build that subway, and it doesn't matter what color these are because they're all getting Mills plated anyway. Now there are different ways that I can add more dimension to this. For example, I could dig down into the base plate in certain regions if I wanted to create like a big crater or something like that. But for now, I'm just looking to get the base construction done. And that one there that I just finished building is just your standard Mills plate. You can see how much quicker I can build it when it's not built up 7 bricks tall. And this one here, once again, is another 2.5 by 2 base plate module. I think it's easier to get the grid laid. And then once you have that grid laid with the evenly spaced bricks, you can go through and increase the height by creating towers of 6 and just popping them onto the bricks that are already evenly distributed. But this one here is going to be a weird one again. I'm going to have some lower sections and also some raised sections because I'm trying to stagger the raised section throughout the deep sea area, so it's not just like one big chunk that's raised up in the back. I'm trying to make it sort of different. It's almost going to be like a diagonal line of raised up area running throughout the entire underwater area. I just think that's going to add a little bit more dimension, and of course things can change. I'm just looking to build the base construction here. And once again, this isn't really set in stone. Things can always change, and I think this went by pretty quickly. While I was doing this, I was watching the Oilers game, and I was also talking to my brother on the phone because he's on Christmas break. So I was like, oh, that's a good use of my time while I'm building giant Mills plates. Here's all the plates laid out on the ground, and I discovered that I want to add a little bit more here, so I actually tore out, I think it was 3 16 by 16 plates, and I'm going to better stagger those so they come more to the foreground, and then as we move to the right, it's more so in the background, and I think that's going to give us that diagonal line effect. But you can see how big it is. You've got that massive roller coaster in behind there, so this is a pretty big surface. I'm pretty excited about the deep sea area. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Definitely the best one that I've ever created. Now I've got to go through and lay some of these dark tan rock panels, and I do plan on switching a bunch of these to dark gray because I don't have a whole lot of dark tan brick, and I'm going to have to bolster some of these up with brick. So I think using dark gray would probably be my best bet. Because of course you can find like stone underwater, and I think that's going to help add some more colors to this area as well. Also, I can use 2x brick to have different grades and different sort of sections throughout this entire area. And just because all those studs are flat in the foreground doesn't mean they have to stay flat. So as I progress with this little diorama here, I'm definitely going to be playing around with more colors, more gradients, different styles of slopes and just like more detail in general, of course. Now, I've mentioned this countless times. I am a visual person, so I always need to place these dioramas or these plates so that I can better visualize what it's going to look like in the area before I get too far ahead of myself. So here I go, sliding all those massive plates into place, and I think it looks pretty good. But once again, we're going to be adding some more colors and some different styles of grades, and of course a ton of vegetation and a ton of sea creatures as well. But because I'm a visual person, I also wanted to see what the blue base plates would look like if they were just propped up against the back there, and I think it adds a nice backdrop. And I can also use those studs to position like sea life and sea plants coming off the back walls, and then of course it's all studs, so I can add textures and designs using different colors of blue or transparent blue, and I think that's something that is so cool about wanting to stud the entire backdrop of this diorama. Now I'm gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with that subway there as well. As you can see, I removed the shelf, but it's pretty neat looking at the deep water up top and then coming down and seeing the deep sea area, which is definitely a pretty big size. I love that blue background. I think that's going to be great. We're going to be able to play around with that quite a bit. And that nice angle of the rock panels, I think, is going to be pretty cool as well. But once again, I can't stress it enough. I want to add some more colors and maybe have some more height and depth built into the plates. But I think that was definitely a great place to start. You know, we have them sort of popping out here, and I'll have to fill in the side of that, and then it just goes right across, and we've got some really nice high ground up there. I didn't want to go any higher because I think you would lose visibility, so I definitely want to just keep it at that height max. But once again, we can probably play around with some heights that are a little bit lower than that. And I can't wait to hot glue gun just blue base plates on the entire surface there. That shelf is going to come right in front of it, but I think we will be able to play around with that, either change the position of the shelf, or we can create a scene that has that train going right through it. I'm talking about the subway shelf. I think it's so neat that we can take this massive Lego city and we can have scenes underneath it, whether it be the subway or the deep sea area. And I think it really matches the vibe of having this beautiful, colorful water up top, and then when you pop down below, we're gonna have that deep sea area. One other thing that I need to do is I need to figure out what kind of light fixtures I'm gonna mount to the top of the table there, just to the underside of the frame, because I wanna have blue lights coming down, so it's going to illuminate this area and just provide it with more light, and also it's just going to, like, you know, bring it to life. It's gonna make it look like we're underwater under there. And then we've got all sorts of creatures and like deep sea sets that we can add, and we're going to create a really cool scene under here. Man, it has been like years since I've concentrated on a deep sea area, and I'm really excited about moving forward with this one here. It is definitely going to be the biggest and best deep sea diorama that we have ever created in any of our Lego rooms, and I can't wait to continue to develop it, and I can't wait to continue just developing this city. It's going to be such an exciting project for 2025. I hope you enjoyed this update. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff, and have yourselves a great day. Farewell.